We'll start the NFC, the NFC South by looking at the Atlanta Falcons, the favorites. And they are lined at 9.5 wins. Last season, they had 7. They're expected to be favored in 13 games this season, underdogs in 4. This is a team that, well, for one, they got one big thing going for them. They have the easiest schedule in 2024, and they face the easiest lineup of run defenses. And for a team that, has Bijan Robinson, I feel like they started to figure out what was working better for him. I think it was less fullback runs, and he's a talent. I'm sure he'll continue to get better and better. But the big thing for me is you got rid of, the big thing that was holding you back. That's Desmond Ritter. He was just terrible. That's all I'm gonna say. He's terrible. Now he's gone. You add Kirk Cousins, who I'm not sure. I mean, how old is this guy now? And he's coming off of an Achilles injuries in week 8. Still, if he's on the field, I think he'll be better than Ritter. And Michael Penix, I think he's good. From what I saw from him in college, looking at training camp, it's hard to tell, but I think he's a good talent, and I absolutely think he'll be an upgrade from Ritter. So I like that for them. The main thing holding them back, they got better. Talking about the easy schedule, though, 6 of their first 9 games are at home. I'm looking at them. They're not very easy games, but it's good that they have them at home at least. It's the back end of the schedule that they really have the cupcakes. So if they can get out of there with a few wins, like I'm looking at the first half of the season, Steelers, Eagles, KC, Saints, Bucks, Panthers, Seahawks. I don't know. Maybe this is a team, like those first 3 games really stand out to me the most. Steelers, Eagles, Kansas City. Maybe this is a team where you can just live bet a season win total on this one, because right now at 9.5 juiced, like, can they have 10 wins? I think with the schedule and the talent that they have, yes, they're capable of it. But do I want to, bet that at minus 140? It's not something I really want to do. So, um, live total is kind of where I'm looking at this one. Is a team who had the number 1 red zone defense. They were number 3 on third downs on defense last year. Number 4 run defense. I think there's some things they can build on, and they now have better quarterback play. So, only way I don't want to bet under. So I'll say I'll lean over. I think the best way to approach it is wait the first 3 games out. I see them maybe winning 1 out of those first 3 games, and then get in on the live season total over. You can maybe get a better number than 9.5. Moving on, we will go to Carolina. And there's not a whole lot to be said about this team. This is a team that is lined at 4.5 wins. They're expected to be favored. They're not expected to be favored at all this season. And they're expected to be an underdog in 16 games. Last season, they only won 2 games. And actually, we've seen this number, it opened at 4.5, but we've seen it go up to 5.5. So some people, are thinking that it's a little bit too low. It'll be a turnaround this year. I don't know that I can say that much. This is a team that lost their sack leader, Brian Burns. They did add Deontay Johnson, and you compare him with Thielen, and the pressure kind of on Bryce Young to take the next step with this team, I guess is what I could say. They have an easy schedule. I just feel like it's not a whole lot of talent on this roster. So, I don't want to just to talk. I don't think this is a good team. I'm not, a big believer in Bryce Young, and it's hard for me to bet over 5.5 wins now. So I'll lean under, and we'll move it right along, quick and easy for that team. Next up, we will go. Where's my list? Next up, we will go. Should be New Orleans here. So there we go. Catch up with my paper here. New Orleans Saints. They're lined at 7.5 wins. Last season, they had 9 wins. They're expected to be favored in 6 games, underdogs in 10. And I want to say last season they had a really easy schedule. Not the case this time. They are part of that group that plays 3 games in 10 days. And we talked about how that hasn't happened in the past 5 years. And now, it's happening 10 times this season. That's a very difficult spot for a team to be in. So no favors on the schedule, really. Net prep -3, net reps -2. A team that, yeah, they added Chase Young. That'll obviously help on the defensive end. But that offense, Kamara, he's kind of declining. I don't even want to say kind of, but yeah, he's not looking like the same guy, and they're paying him a hell of a lot still. I feel like from what I saw, they need to include Taysom Hill a little bit more. And if they do, it will probably equal them having more success in the red zone. That's kind of how I view New Orleans. If they can do those things, it'll take them in a step in the right direction. I think the secondary is good. Um, yeah, just talk about those tight ends. I think if they just try to get defenses to think that they're running and just line up with multi tight end sets, it seems like if they do that more than, or do that and reduce the 3 wide receiver sets, then they can start to have success. But it's hard for me to bet over 7.5 wins for this team. Number 5, easiest schedule this season. The splits for when they, have guys in motion are pretty good. I think they can do more of that. It's things that they can improve on. But do I want to bet on it? Not necessarily. I think there's another team that we can talk about that I would prefer to bet a little bit more than this one. And we'll move it on over to that team. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this team I've gone back and forth with. Catch up my notes here. There we go. I've gone back and forth with. They opened at 8.5 wins. It's dropped to 7.5 wins. And last season, I believe they had 9, but let's just verify. Yeah, last season they had 9. Season prior they had 8, and seasons before those I think are Brady's team. So double-digit wins, etc., etc. They're expected to be favored in 8 games this season, underdogs in 9. And I'm not mistaken. I mean, this is a team that routinely wins this division. I get it that Falcons have improved a lot, but I don't want to just count Tampa Bay Buccaneers out. So looking at this team specifically, and last year they were bullies. When they played the good teams, the teams that make the playoffs, 1-5. When they played the less than's, the others, 8-3. You look at this season, they have 11 games versus non-playoff teams. The number 11 easiest schedule, but like I said, if they can take advantage of those less than still, they should get well over this 7.5. Like I can count out 8 wins on the schedule when I'm looking at it right now. A lot of easy games out there to be had. One thing that I don't like, or a couple things, they were turnover reliant last year. They're 0-3 if the defense didn't get a takeaway, and they had a lot of turnover luck, injury luck, and that's not usually things that are likely to repeat. The offensive line was kind of a concern, but they did draft, they used a first round pick on the offensive lineman, so that should help out. Net prep -3, net prep -2. I don't like that schedule, not really doing them a whole lot of favors, but the teams they're facing, like, yeah, some rest advantages and preparation advantages for others, but I mean, Panthers twice, Broncos, Commanders, Giants, Saints twice, they can beat them. Chargers, Cowboys may implode. Like, I don't know. I see a lot of winnable games on this schedule. Play Falcons twice. Falcons are supposed to be better, but can they win? Will the Falcons just roll in and beat the Buccaneers twice? I don't think so. So I could see a situation where the Buccaneers still go over this 7.5 number like they've done in the past. I don't know how many seasons in a row. I do have to mention though, they need to become more efficient on early downs, and they need to do something with that run game. Last 2 years, as far as running back runs, last in yards per carry. But I think 7.5 wins. The defense can carry this team a little bit here. That's just kind of how I'm viewing it. So over 7.5, I think is my final decision if I have to bet the Tampa Bay Bucks here. getting a little bit of a discount from that 8.5 number. As far as division as a whole, Falcons are the favorite at -120. Buccaneers right behind them at +310. Then we have the New Orleans Saints at +325, and the Panthers at +1100. Panthers, we throw out. Saints, I mean, I guess you could say Saints and Buccaneers um both have a lot of things that they can improve on, but the Buccaneers, I mean, the Saints, they have that 3 games in 10 days, and I feel like they have a little bit more that I'm worried about than with the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers is more like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Team that's continued to routinely win this division, routinely getting to 8 wins. I think that they can do that again. I think that they have a shot to win this division. The Falcons, boom or bust. Like they could live up to potential and be really, really good, or I could see them, fall apart just because that's what I've seen from the Falcons in previous years. So if I have to make a bet, I just can't do the -120 for the Falcons. I'm not comfortable to lay a number that they will really, really win. I think the Bucks have a shot at +310. I prefer my money to be there for a division winner. And best bet wise for this division, before I give a best bet, just reminder to everybody that you can find all of my work at Wagertalk.com. There's a link in the description to this video, and we're up like slightly below 60 units this season in all sports. And you can go back to last season, up over 100 units, etc. So we're making money, putting in a lot of work to prepare for this NFL season. And if you're interested in WNBA, we have that over there as well, and that picks back up on the 15th. Best bet for the NFC South division. A lot of question marks in this division. I remind everybody that, I don't like to give bets that I haven't placed, but I do want to leave you guys with, what I think is the best wager right now. And Falcons juice to that over. Can't endorse that. I just can't. I think that the Buccaneers, they're more than capable. If the Falcons slip up, which I could see starting at the beginning of the season, the Buccaneers could have some value there. Buccaneers +310. I like that, but to win the division, but Buccaneers over 7.5. They've gotten 8 wins every year, no matter, who's playing quarterback, no matter, regardless. I think that they do it again. Buccaneers over 7.5 wins will be my best bet for the NFC South.